Alrighty, going to get into our next set. It's going to be set number 3, actually, which is the Diamond versus Diamond ZVT. We're going to be on Ruins of Sarah, so a really big map. Of course, the technically highest level we get in the CTL, Diamond versus Diamond, so this should be a good match to watch. LiT eSports is up 2-1. We're going to get into our game here, spawning in the top right corner in pink for Paragons of Perfection. Our Terran player. This is DDL. And his opponent in the bottom left in yellow from LiT eSports. His team is up 2-1. Our reserve player. This is Solasce. So last game in the ZVT, we did see those Liberators just wrecking face. So many workers, 41 workers were killed before the base race even really started. Pseudo base race. I mean, Fuzzles was only able to kill the natural base of his opponent, but still 41 workers before things started getting really haywire. That's never going to be an enjoyable game for a Zerg player. I mean, he got the hatches up that he wanted really quickly, but he just wasn't able to deal with those Liberators, and they're extremely frustrating to deal with. We did see him try and take out one of them with some Ravagers, but ended up losing one of his Ravagers and wasn't able to actually kill the Liberator. So he had 2 Liberators camping out his main and natural mineral lines, and then an actual army to contend with. So he did have the layer, so he could have probably gone on Aspire and tried figuring out something there, but just wasn't able to deal with those Liberators the way he needed to. So we'll have to see if maybe we'll see some more Liberators here in this game in our Diamond matchup, with flipping the scripts with ParaOP's player playing Terran here, and LiT's player playing as Zerg. We do see a hatch first into gas pool here for our Zerg player, so again, just nice solid macro openers. We do have a Reaper on the way from our Terran player as well, so nothing should be that much of a surprise for either player in the early going. And of course, Legacy of the Void, one of the nicest changes is the fact that there's so little downtime at the beginning of games. It's actually, things start. You're not sitting and waiting around for something to actually happen, because we're 2 minutes in and players have naturals. There's army units on the way. It's nice. We do have speed on the way immediately for Solasce, which is something that Fuzzles kind of seemingly forgot last game. So also we'll be able to deal with any Reaper, the single Reaper that is coming in pretty easily. Granted, they don't have speed, of course, and the Reapers do have their grenades if they, he wants to get in there and try to do some damage. And he's going to get one circling. Probably could get a few more if he wants to, but he is at least being forced to dance around here by Solasce. So a little bit of a different story from the last game at least. But we do see actually 2 more barracks coming up and a factory here for DDL. So this is going to be a large amount of units really quickly. From our Terran player. He's not going to tax super hard. I mean, he's just going straight into 1 factory. So I don't know, maybe some Window Mine help with these extra barracks, but we do see a tech lab coming down on one of those barracks, so Comet Shielder stem is going to be started up really quickly, and with only a single gas, I mean the second gas is coming up right now, there's not a whole lot tech-wise that DDL can do. It actually is going to go ahead and throw down this starport too, so this is obviously a pretty well practiced build here. His gas is staying extremely low, his minerals are staying extremely low as well. No stem just yet, no Comet Shield either. Either one would be a pretty decent choice right now. He is making nothing but Marines at the moment, especially if he wants to do some sort of early drop and just use Combat Shield to help with that. We'll see, but there it goes. There's Stem. There we go. Stem is on the way. Nothing coming out of the factory just yet. Just a lot of Marines, and I gotta assume we'll be seeing some medevacs coming out to help them. Reaper is going to go down, but we'll see the 3rd hatchery is coming up, so it got its job done and was able to get some scouting information. And Solasce actually has an Overlord just hanging out here in front of DDL's base, so that's kind of interesting. So we do see the single medevac coming up. Stem is going to be done so quickly here in this game. If, that's not going to be the case, but if Solasce were trying to rush to Ultralisk or something and skip the baneling step of a game, it'd be pretty difficult for him to actually get there and get there safely. But we do see a Roach Warren out here for Solasce, so see what he's actually gearing up for here in a few minutes. How many drones is he actually going to make for this third hatchery? He's going to make any, or is he just going to use it for larvae? We do see a medevac drop moving out, but Solasce does see this lovely spread on his lings. He's got them everywhere. There's no way he's missing that. I mean, that's such a long period of time. And he even got an Overlord out here in the middle of the map. That's going to see it once again. The thing is, he doesn't really have that many units. Like, he's got 2 roaches on the wing. He's got these units that are spread out on the map a little bit, but he doesn't have much else besides that. So 2 roaches and some queens are going to basically have to be the ones that deal with this. And he doesn't actually see the drop coming down, and there we go, there they show up. Stim isn't done just yet, so he's not going to lose, you know, all of his drones or anything, but this is going to be rather annoying to deal with. There is the lair coming in, which DDL does see. He's just going to start playing the ring around Rosie with all these drones and a couple ropes here as well. And again, with no upgrades to speak of here for these Marines, they're not exactly going to do a ton of damage. This is still a good amount of damage. There we go. 5 workers do go down for the cost of, what was that? 4 Marines, so 5 Marines. He lost 5 Marines, so you know, that's pretty decent, I guess. I mean, workers are the most annoying thing to have to replace, especially at this stage of the game. He doesn't want to be doing that, and now with Stim completed, it looked like he wants to move out a little bit more. He did see that there wasn't a Baneling nest. At least he didn't see one in the main base. And he did see those roaches, so maybe he thinks that his opponent's just going to make straight roaches. Roach Ravager, at least, to start off this game. We do see the range upgrades coming out for our Zerg player as well, so we'll have to see. And there's a Widowmine with this army as well. There are 2 medevacs. It's just a lot of Stim Marines. They don't even have combat shield. It's going to be a little bit longer before that combat shield does finish up, and there's the 3rd Command Center. I was getting ready to ask, where is this 3rd Command Center? But it's actually floating off into the 3rd base now, so that's nice. And actually, the nice Overlord Vision spread from Solasce is going to hurt him. He's actually supply blocked pretty heavily right now. There's a lot of roaches here, and they're actually in a really, really nice concave, so he's going to have to get the heck out of dodge. Widowmine shot does go off. Another Widowmine going to burrow here. Nice splitting there by our Zerg player. He's going to only take 1 roach loss there. He did lose a little bit of health on that first one. We go Stim forward. Queen's going to be taking the brunt of the damage so far. Actually, 1 queen! How much health do you have? You had 2 health and you didn't die. So, sad story there for DDL. That queen does get transfused now, so it's going to be just fine. This Widowmine's getting ready to shoot off again. And Saul's just not quite cognizant of that fact. Another Widowmine shot, not quite going to go off. So a couple Widowmine kills here for DDL, which is nice. And his 3rd base has landed. He's starting to put some SCVs over there as well. And not a ton of pressure, but this is pressure nonetheless, and it is forcing Solasce to use his larva on units rather than getting out more drones and actually saturating his bases. Because right now, I mean, we're 8 minutes in, and the worker count is relatively even, 51 to 50 workers, just barely in advantage of our Zerg player. And of course, if you're on even bases as a Zerg with anything, and there's another drop here in the main base that I'm just ignoring completely. If you're on even bases and even workers with a Terran player at this point of the game, that means something has gone not your way. This was the drop from earlier, so there were only a few Marines actually in here. Not too many. It's just being a little bit of annoyance. It's denying mining time for a little bit longer. And God, there's so much dead space in these maps. It's insane. He's a mile away from a base right now, but he's so safe. And this is kind of the problem that Zergs face if they do not open up Spire. How do you actually deal with drops like this? You have to keep sending off army units to random places, and then you're not attacking any. Oh, this medevac's gonna go down, but not a huge deal. Obviously an annoyance, but not the biggest of issues. Right, the biggest thing right now for Solasce in his advantage is the fact that he does have 2-2 on the way, and DDL's 1-1 is going to be finishing up probably almost exactly the same time as Solasce's 2-2. So long as Solasce keeps those upgrades moving and keeps ahead, he's going to have a really, really nice position here. Solasce is double expanding over here, trying to take his 4th base while posturing on the map a little bit. There's not too many units up here, only with like 6-7 roaches and a couple of Ravagers, and this is a pretty large Terran bio force. Even some tanks being mixed in at this point. Again, just these upgrades so far behind right now for DDL. if Solasce is able to actually get his economy rolling, because right now he's actually behind on workers. If Solasce is given a chance to get that going, then he will take a huge advantage. But as it stands right now, the army supply 105 to 75 in favor of a Terran player, so that upgrade advantage is not going to be felt too much by DDL. He's picking up his tanks now. He's probably thinking about, as soon as 1-1 finishes, he's probably going to be moving out on the map somewhere at least. Does he have an armory down somewhere? Armory, where are you? I don't believe he has an armory now, so he's going to be stuck on 1-1 for a long time too. So again, it is 2-2 versus 1-1. But this is a huge army here, 120 arms by the 84. When it's Roach Ravager against a lot of tanks and a lot of bio, and a lot of these Roaches, a good chunk of the Roach and Ravager force was outside of the main army. And now there's only, what, 2 Ravagers left over right now? Yeah, 2 Ravagers and a bunch of Roaches. That's not that scary. I don't think DDL is going to be too frightened by this, and he's going to start just pushing in. I mean, this hatchery is going to go down. Kind of luckily, Solasce has this one down here, and if maybe DDL just passes by and doesn't really notice that one's down there, he should be, he might be okay, a little bit at least. But he is going to go ahead and set up shop over here with his tanks, take up a hatchery, and probably pick up and just keep moving forward inch by inch. We do have the hive on the way here for Solasce, and looks like he's trying to switch over to ultras. He did get the banding nest down. He's getting the centrifugal hooks as well for banding speed, but it might be just a lot late. A lot late, and it's going to be too little as well. Army is crashing in here. DDL wasn't really paying too much attention here at the start of the fight. He's going to lose most of his bio force, but 3 tanks still shooting away at things. Bio shots do go down, take out one of those tanks, but 2 tanks do remain left over, and now it's just a few Roaches and Ravagers. Tanks still moving on forward, and a bio force trickling across the map as well for our Terran player. A lot of Lings in production, but Lings aren't going to be buying the time he needs. I mean, Corrosive Bile is nice. It's going to help him out a little bit to buy some time, just to kind of force the army to stay back some. And all these Lings rolling in should give him a little bit more breathing room, but tanks are going to do so much damage. Another tank up here getting taken out by Lings, and it's looking like oh, Solasce was almost holding this off, but those last Corrosive Bile shots were just, I guess, one way to deal with it. You just kind of micro forward and past it, and still, it's just, we're at this point of the game where DDL is not going to stop rallying forward. The 3rd base does go down. I mean, he does have this 4th base that's kind of mining, but there's not much left right now for our Zerg player. He's actually going to lose some more Ravagers over here. DDL wasn't really paying attention to that part of his work at that point, so he did take some shots there, but I don't think anything actually died. And, well, still 2-2 isn't even on the way here for our Terran player, but at this point, he's pretty well ravaged most of the economy. There's a lot of drones over here at this new 3rd/4th base, but without a 4th base at this point, how the heck is Solasce going to continue affording things? He does have a huge bank. Big Marauders just going to snipe off his hatchery and probably lift up and get on out of dodge, and still units rallying across the map here for our Terran player. And actually, to an extent, he's starting to overextend a little bit. I think if he's realizing this now, he's just going to kind of regroup, get back home, wait for some more units. He's throwing down 3 command centers at a time because he's had a bunch of money, because that's the Terran thing to do. He doesn't want to suddenly not have... Oh, even the Marine blocking the hatchery. I mean, it's only momentary. Actually, he killed the poor drone that was trying to make a hatch. Poor guy. Just wanted to make a hatchery. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted in life, was to make a hatchery, but life was ruined by a single Marine. But good God, we need 2-2. DDL, you need to work on your upgrades, to say the least. He's got a lot of army, I mean 95 to 80 army supply, but that's still 1-1 versus 2-2. 3-3 is on the way here for Solasce, as well as a melee upgrade. And he's getting adrenal glands as well. He's got the ultra carbon coming in, so in this game, like I said, DDL may have overextended a little bit, and he's starting to feel the pressure from it. There are a lot of tanks back here. Corrosive Bile shots do go off. I think he actually partially killed his own Overseer doing that. But, I mean, luckily for DDL, he's got a lot of tanks here. A lot of tanks, so he's not going to be feeling any more pressure, really. Solasce cannot attack into that, but he just needs to get his economy back up and rolling. Ultra Carbon is finished here. He does have the money to go ahead and start some Ultras. and the Carapace upgrade, which is going to be huge if you can actually get the Ultras out. There we go, 2 Ultras on the way. We're about to have Adrenal Glands finishing. It's got a little while longer on it. And then again, DDL just chilling on 1-1. 15 minutes into the game, we're going to play on 1-1. If this game goes on for too much longer, this is going to be real bad for DDL, especially with 5 Ultralisks out. And once they get their Carapace upgrade, they're going to be sitting on a ton of armor versus, you know, basically shooting spitballs at them from this bio force. I mean, there's a lot of bio, but the army supplies are even. They're even now somehow. Somehow through all of that, both players are now maxed. Solasce has better upgrades. He's got a better army, but I mean, it's a lot of tanks. A lot of tanks right now. 5 tanks here. And it's going to be, how can Solasce actually engage into this? He doesn't have any infestors to keep the army locked down. He's got a few roaches, you know, being annoying and making this CC lift, which is nice. Looks like, well, he's going to walk into this and see, hey, holy crap, you have Ultras. You got a lot of army here. And he's going to get some of his army taken out. Tanks do land, but directly on top of the Ultras. Ultras are going to just crush on through this. And this is, I mean, it's not going great for our Terran player. The supply is now greatly in favor of Solasce, but the kiting.
So, I mean, for the time being, DDL is just going to have to probably back off and regroup a bit. He does finally get this, I don't know, 5th base landed over here. Those roaches were being a little bit annoying over there, but right now it's just kind of a matter of time for Solasce to find some sort of army composition that he wants to use right now. So he's got these Ultras, and he's got still a lot of roaches left over from his first army choice, which isn't like the greatest of places to be for him right now, but he does still have a really nice army lead, and kind of just his basic economy setup is a lot nicer right now than his Terran opponents. I mean, DDL has, you know, bases down and whatever, but I mean, most of his bases are starting to mine out, and looks like Solasce is going to start pushing the issue here. DDL's army is actually pretty well out of place right now. A lot of it's caught out. He's actually going to try to load up most of that and get the heck out of here and reposition himself somewhere over at least with one of these planetaries. Actually, that's just 3 orbitals and 1 planetary. But how many kills is this planetary going to get? Because this is quite the choke here. I mean, it's only got 2 kills, so it's not going to get that many kills, but still. That's a huge choke that Solasce is actually deciding to fight and engage into. But it's not going to matter too much. I mean, look at the upgrades still. It's 3-3. Granted, I mean, these Ultras only have +2 attack, but they do have their Carapace upgrade. So they're just going to be so hard to kill. 2-2 is just now halfway completed here for our Terran player. And Solasce is, he's trying to end the game now. I mean, almost 18 minutes into this game here. And Solasce is like, yeah, I'm pretty overplaying this game right now. There we go. GG. Solasce will take it and put his team up 3-1 here in this best of 7 series. And we'll get into our next match shortly, which is going to be xCloud versus Smash, Gold versus Gold TVZ coming up next.